Welcome to Miss Martin Muses. Welcome to Miss Martin Muses, where we muse upon what makes me laugh, makes me cry, makes me happy, makes me sad, or just really ticks me off. Well, today it's something that makes me happy and it kind of makes me sad because it's some very, very good chapters in The Lord of the Rings, the end of the Two Towers. I apologize for the slight delay. The stars aligned to feck up people's coffee, and nature and snow and the stars made us a little bit late. But you know what?
I don't know what you're talking about. I arrived precisely when I meant to.
You're gonna say that.
And
dear.
I was and I was hangry, and I
man.
had to get a bagel. It was quite a tragedy. Quite a
Told you
tragedy.
you should eat a burger.
I said a
Done what I
bagel.
told you, you wouldn't have been hangry, would you?
Yeah, but you don't eat a hamburger for breakfast.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
weird.
Yeah.
Even though Jack in
Okay.
the Box has that one like breakfast sandwich with like a bun or whatever, I'm like, nah, dude, no.
Oh,
Cool.
I had pork chops and French fries for dinner for breakfast.
Oh,
What?
Yeah,
well,
because
Steve,
I
I did.
realized I hadn't eaten in a day, and I was starving, and I'm like, fuck this, I want something solid.
Something
I-
hearty.
Yeah, well, I did make a promise to you, Steve, that I would eat a cheeseburger today, and he also
With
said
bacon
I
on
could.
it.
I was about ready to say it can't even just be a cheeseburger; has to be bacon. I mean, my gosh, he's trying to give
Yeah,
me a.
eat the whole thing in one go too.
I mean, I do have to say, there's something about bacon. You know.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, we love bacon, and you know what else we love? We love our chat. We love our chat here at Miss Martin Music, especially our animals in our chat. It is Snortopoopas Cuber, all the way from the North Pole on an iceberg. We have the elf. The elf is in the house, Lady Toriel, and hopefully she will be able to fix her internet. We also have.
Also, the avatar she's using, it's not an elf. It's Catti from the Dritz books.
Ah, well, there you go. Yes, she's definitely been reading like a lunatic. Here at, well, not Miss Martin Muses, but in her life. Yes, we love Lady Toriel here, and that is a badass avatar, actually. We have Jacob Ironside. Thank you. Welcome. Yeah, let me just flash this up. Yay, look at that avatar. He's saying good morning to all. Oh, that's me. And we have Dalek 451. Welcome to Miss Martin Muses. And that's it so far. Well, I am joined once again by my wonderful, marvelous, and brilliant guests. None other than Princess Rennie.
Hey, Teresa. Hey, Stig. Thank you for having me on. As always, it's such an honor, and I love talking about these books. It's getting me to shut up. That's the trick, so to speak. But it's always fun, and before you know it, the show's already over. You know, that's how much fun it is to be here.
Yeah, we love it so much. I think we could talk for hours about it. It's so great. And then none all the way from Norway, the one, the only, the legend, Steve Kenobi.
Hi.
Good morning. And he is full of meat this morning. Oh wait.
Sorry.
Oh, I did not mean it like that. I mean in his belly, because he's eating it. Okay, speaking of meat, Mary McCheese is giving us some bacon. Welcome. And all the way from the Emerald Isle, Shane Nolan, you're always here. Definitely appreciate you and all of our guests. Hello, Naked Fame. And, oh, look, Shane Nolan says, we love the sound of your voice. Aw, so nice. Yeah, well. And then there's Steve Murphy, full of me. Okay. Oh, wait. I think I got that. No. We're nice here at Miss Martin Muses. I don't get that. Yeah. So we are talking about the Two Towers. Which is, as we have said previously, Rennie's favorite book of the Lord of the Rings. I'm not entirely sure which one is mine, but it has been quite a roller coaster ride, because we started off the book with basically the hunt for the hobbits, and we had big old battles and all that, And then we moved to the greatest man ever to grace fiction. Oh, and that is Faramir, and we made out with him last time. Wait, you can't get in, Lady Griefmaster? Is the link not working? I don't see you in the background there. What's going on? Let me see. I'm gonna go look in our other chat, and then we. We had all the things with Gollum, and now we're moving on to perhaps one of the creepiest parts of the book is the Shelob one. Okay.
Oh yeah,
Link says that it's broken. Yeah.
that's weird.
That is very weird because it's obviously, well, Stieg and Princess Rennie were able to get in. Let me go ahead and see what's going on there. But unstable broken connection. Oh my gosh, we're unstable.
Oh dear.
All right, I'm gonna see what I can do about that because I know that we've had some technical difficulty today. We must be cursed a little bit, but in any case, we do have a Shelob. Before we get into some of the details, because it's incredibly creepy, the whole thing with Shelob, the spider. What do you say? Give a little bit of a background. I didn't know if Princess Rennie, if you wanted to say, how do you feel about this damn spider?
Well, if you read the Silmarillion, then you know that she's a descendant of Ungoliant, one of the greatest evils like ever, or a really evil spider. So there's something creepy about, like, for instance, the Hobbits, where they had those talking spiders that were chasing, Bilbo and the dwarves. And then you have it again in the Lord of the Rings, but this one's just pure evil, even worse than the ones that were in, was it Mirkwood? And so just the thought of I don't know if you guys know, but I don't really like bugs. So a tiny little spider freaks me out. And the thought of one like 3 to 4 times my size really freaks me out. So I've always found those chapters kind of creepy, or that chapter kind of creepy, but at the same time, it's kind of cool to see, for one, Sam was right about Gollum, but for two, that, she's not undefeatable.
Yes.
So that's kind of cool, but it's still creepy because it's a spider.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And I hate spiders. I have a severe case of arachnophobia, so no, I did not like that, and I sure as hell didn't like it when seeing it in the series. So Steve, how do you feel about Shelob? What do you know about her and that bitch spider?
Well, excellent in the movie. I still haven't reread The Two Towers. I'm lagging a bit behind there.
Yeah.
But I remember it being a cool chapter. Sam got to kick some ass, which is a long time coming, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. With the exception of some very memorable moments in Return of the King, this is the best stuff for Samwise Gamgee, easily. It was so powerful, and we're going to go into some of those details as we go through.
Side note: a little bit of a plot hole in the movie. Shelob stabs Frodo in the chest stomach area.
Mm-hmm.
While he's wearing his chainmail.
Yeah.
So that stinger shouldn't have penetrated, should it?
Well,
in the book, though, it stings him in the leg, I think.
Huh. Very possible. I'd have to look at the source. Yeah, you were about to say, Lady Princess Rennie?
Well, I think I don't know. I think in the movie they were trying to show that maybe Mithril wasn't 100% impenetrable, especially since Sheila was like old and ancient. I don't know, but she's also kind of a magical and mystical creature as well. So you can kind of justify it that way, but I do get what you're saying, Stieg. Totally get it.
Yeah, plus the size of that huge stinger should have killed him even without the poison.
Yeah, exactly.
She made it!
There she is.
Lady Gravemaster! Yay!
I said
We
to
worked our
restart the
magic.
computer.
Yeah, well, I'm so glad you're here, and I'm so glad you could make it, especially for the end of this Two Towers discussion.
Yes, I am excited and looking forward to it. And where did we leave off? I just heard that Rennie doesn't like spiders, and then Stieg was trying to say that was it the movies you said he got stabbed in the stomach?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you don't actually see where he gets stabbed.
No, but
the
you can
movies.
see it from the angle.
Yeah, from like where her, like, I don't know if you want to call it her butt or the place where the stinger comes from, but where it hits him, that's kind of how you can see it.
Her thorax?
Yeah, there you go. Look,
I
I'm
was
not
about
into
ready to
spider
say-
lore.
We're not zoologists here at
Spider Anatomy 101. Or is it ants that have a thorax? I'm pretty sure it's I think they both do actually. But
Girl, it's all gross.
yes,
Yeah.
but I mean, technically speaking, you see her like stab, but it like shoots to his face. You don't actually see where the stinger goes in because it shoots to his face, and then he starts foaming at the mouth. And then
Who's Jack Murphy?
We're not talking about. I'll be gentle. It's off topic. How's that? I'll be gentle and I'll say that. Yeah, we don't talk about other. Oh, actually, I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Yeah,
Never mind.
I just have no clue who that is. Sorry.
Yeah,
I can tell you later.
if
You really want to know, it's not anything. You are missing nothing.
You're missing nothing, and it's none of your business. It's none of our business. You know. It's like, come on.
Well, I mean, he kind of put his business out there, but I'll let it go.
Well,
or no?
Yeah, but I mean, come on. We've all got better.
So
things.
I've looked up because I apparently am a masochist. So no, a spider does not have a thorax. It has an abdomen and spinnerets and a cephalothorax. But like an actual thorax, yes. So a thorax, you have to. So that's like ants are in 3 segments and spiders are in 2. So spiders have a cephalothorax. She stabs him according to Steve, stabs Frodo in the abdomen with her abdomen, whilst thrusting the stinger into him. Fascinating. Yeah. And okay, so now I'm confused. When like a spider, I thought spiders bite.
Well, some of them do. As
I've
far as I know.
I've never heard of a spider sting. I've heard of spider bites, like brown recluse, black widow, even daddy longlegs, which I guess are technically not spiders because they only have like something to do with it's actually they only have 6 legs and then the other 2 are like antennas or sensors or something like that. But did you know that the only reason that we aren't dead because of daddy longlegs is because their fangs are too short and soft to pierce our skin? They are actually the most venomous insect.
Yes,
did you know that?
I did know.
Terrifying because they're everywhere. They outnumber humans like 1 to 1 million. It would not be a fair fight. Like if they had, I mean, I'm just saying. Yeah. Like terrifying. So yeah, I mean, I'll let it go because I know Tolkien wasn't a zoologist and he's a far better writer than me. And this book has done millions. Also, she's like ancient, evil, and not even really a spider. Isn't she like a cursed woman or something like that? I forget.
Well, she's a descendant of Ungoliant, who wound up being like I think some cursed demon spider or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay, Silmarillion. That's right. Yep. I'm tracking now. That's it.
Yeah.
Right? That's in the Silmarillion.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, the chat has been chiming into about that. She's more, since she's in spider form. She's not literally spider, so you know you can take liberties with the biology if you're dealing with if you're dealing with that. And I don't even know if I have the right word because there might be a special name for like arachnid specialists. I don't know if you're a bug specialist.
I'm just throwing out zoologists because I know that they know a lot of stuff about animals.
Exactly, because of zoo.
Just the broad term.
I think like if you're a magical creature, you get a little bit of a pass. You can you
Right?
could say for instance, you have dragons and stuff like that shouldn't be able to
Especially if
fly,
you're
but
especially if you're a half cursed demon spawn.
yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, but it would just, can you imagine if spiders did have stingers like that? I mean,
I would actually not like to.
I'm just saying, I feel like if they did exist anywhere, it would be Australia.
Oh, of course it would be Australia.
So,
Well,
I mean,
spiders in Middle Earth might have stingers,
true,
Yeah.
true.
but yeah, I don't know. I seem to remember the same thing, that it was like cursed woman or something.
Oh my
Mm.
gosh. Yeah.
Well, and I'm trying to think, because in the books, I mean, in the very opening of this story, they say because if we go all the way back to Hot, it's not a dirty hole, it's a clean, it's a tight, I know this is going to sound bizarre, but isn't you never see bugs in the Shire?
No,
Yeah, they
am I
don't mention
wrong?
them. They don't really mention them at all.
Right. Well, because, okay, here's the thing. And I know that the film kind of probably took some liberties with it too. But did you see those crops and the amount of the amount of food and the size of it? And I really don't think they actually have any pests.
Mhm.
I don't know if that's just Shire magic or something like that. So if that is the case, and the only time that they come across, because they're not even in the Shire at that point, because Sam has already said, well, I'll be the furthest from home I ever been. Well, at that point, the only time that we see insects and creepy crawlies are when the four of them are on the road, and then they hide from, at this point, just the Black Rider. And he brings all the creepy crawlies out of the trees.
Mhm.
So again, but that doesn't happen in the Shire. That happens outside of the Shire. So I'm just curious. I don't know if that was just something that Tolkien was I don't really need to write about
no, it's still in the Shire, isn't the Buckleberry Ferry and all that part of the Shire?
I thought it
Oh,
was.
I
I thought it
think
was on the outside of the Shire. Maybe not.
No, because they encounter the Black Rider before they get to Buckleberry Ferry.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's a good
Okay.
point.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was just curious because I was man, if you've gone your whole life without seeing insects, and then, I mean, you've already dealt with orcs and urukai and kidnappings and bad dreams and the Eye of Sauron, piercing into your soul. And now you got to deal with a giant ass spider.
Exactly.
I would have just sat in my. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was about ready to say I sympathized with Frodo a little bit when he was dead. And I was thinking, did he Padme on us? Did he lose the will to live? Because I would not have blamed it on him.
That spider would not have had to sting me for me to go paralyzed and pass out. That would not have been necessary. I would not have done that on my own. I'd have seen it and I'd been like, "Yep, we're done."
Yeah,
if this thing exists,
I would have said, "Here, have the ring, Sauron."
I don't want to be in a world where this thing exists at all.
Exactly. Now, I do want to obviously go into this, and we will go into this in detail. But before we do, we talked previously about Gollum and how he had a little bit of conflict. We knew that he was bad and he was going to be leading them astray. Faramir, the most brilliant man who ever lived in fiction, even was warning them, don't trust him. And they were like, but he is our guide. And he is every step of the way leading them to what's going to happen with Shelob. However, there is a beautiful, beautiful moment when Sam and Frodo were sleeping, and it was very moving. And of course, everyone thinks it means they're all gay. No, they're not gay. Frodo was just so weary, and he said, "Lay your head in my lap," and that's how Gollum found him. In his lap, Sam's lap, lay Frodo's head, drowned deep in sleep. Upon his right forehead lay one of Sam's brown hands, and the other lay softly upon his master's breast. peace was on both their faces. Gollum looked at them, and a strange expression passed over his lean, hungry face. The gleam faded from his eyes, and they went dim, gray, old, and tired. A spasm of pain seemed to twist him, and he turned away, peering back up toward the past, shaking his head, as if engaged in some interior debate. Then he came back and, slowly putting out a trembling hand, very cautiously, he touched Frodo's knee, but almost a touch was a caress, and for a fleeting moment, could one of the sleepers have seen him, they would have thought that they beheld an old, weary hobbit, shrunken by the years that had carried him far beyond his time, beyond friends and kin, and the fields and streams of youth, an old, starved, pitiable thing. Holy crap. There we go. That is his last moment of humanity. That in there, everything that Gollum lost by being too addicted to the ring, everything was said in that paragraph. I don't know. I love that in his interior debate. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, Steve?
Well, not much.
Oh,
Well, it completely sums up Gollum, though. You know?
Yeah.
yeah, and perhaps even the theme of redemption. I mean, Lady Gravemaster, when you read that, I can't help but be moved.
Yeah, so the first time I actually reread that paragraph a few times because Lady T I it's interesting because it almost, like you said, it sums up everything he's been through and everything he's lost. But in the same breath, it lets you know that it's like when Gandalf is like, it was pity that stayed Bilbo's hand, it's because you can't help but pity Gollum at this point, because it's not like he is doing this out of malevolence. Like he's not he's just, like you said, he's addicted to the ring, but more so than that, he's consumed by it. I mean, it's complete. It's all consuming, and there's not really anything that he can do. And you know, it always breaks my heart because the very next thing that happens is, of course, Frodo wakes up and screams, and Sam sees it, and he thinks that Gollum is like pawing at Frodo, right? And you know, so then there's the shouting and the yelling, and it's understandable because, you know, Gollum has murdered people for this thing. And he is leading Sam and Frodo to what he believes will be their deaths. And so he's like, when I say that he's pitiable and that you can't help but feel that pity for him, that's not like, it's not the same thing as being empathetic. Like, I think that's the difference here, where I don't empathize or sympathize with or for Gollum, but I do pity him because he's allowed it to drive him from his home, to cause him to kill friends, to, you know, kill family, like, or at least you're led to believe, like, that he's, the stuff that he has done to maintain the ring. I mean, he was fully ready to eat Bilbo.
Yeah.
Like, this is not a good guy at all. And that leads you to wonder, you know, what kind of hobbit, like, what, because the ring sort of, yes, it brings out it'll corrupt you and it can turn you and stuff like that, but I'm sure, like, something that I hope is not lost on anybody that has read these books or even watched the films is it tempts everybody, but not everybody caves. At least not like eventually they'll all cave, as it's been said. Like Gandalf is like, "Don't tempt me. Like I would seek to use this for good, and then I would destroy the world because of it." Because Gandalf knows that he wouldn't be able to avoid the pull of the ring.
Yeah.
So yes, while this does call you to do its bidding and do evil and all of these things, um, it doesn't do that at the same rate, or even, in Sam's case, I think people kind of forget, because, and did we already talk about that, or are we coming up on it, where he's gonna take, he'll carry the ring for a bit.
Yes.
And
yes, we're going to be coming up on that.
Yeah. So like I think that it gets lost on people that yes, the ring is evil. Yes, it can and will corrupt you, but Aragorn was able to say no. Gandalf was able to say no, and that was through pure avoidance. Technically, I mean, I'm actually quite shocked that Frodo lasted as long as he did, quite frankly.
Yes.
Especially in the heart of Mordor. But the one person, and this is why he is the hero of the whole story. Like Tolkien said it himself, he is the hero. Like Sam never once let the evil of the ring or the temptation of the ring or its whispers of whatever it may be, power, fame, fortune, whatever, he never let it usurp his devotion to his friends, but specifically to Frodo. He never let that undermine it, and the ring never became more important to him than Frodo was, even after he thought Frodo died.
Absolutely, well said. And we have an elf in the house. Lady Toriel was able to make it. Welcome, Lady Toriel.
Hi guys. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Yay!
Oh, hey, yay!
Hey, welcome. Well, I'm sure you heard what we were just saying, Lady Toriel. I didn't know if you wanted to chime in on on this last moment of humanity for Gollum.
I agree with Lady Gravemaster. It's all consuming, and you figure 500 years at least he was with the ring, and the amount of time you saw what it did to Frodo in that amount of time. Can you imagine 500 years of being with the ring?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. I mean, just the way he describes him as an old, weary hobbit, shrunken, and just broken almost. It's so it's intense. An old, starved, pitiable thing, as Tolkien describes him. Princess Rennie, that just always gets me.
Yeah.
Because what would have happened? What could have happened? What do you think?
Like, with Gollum? Or
any of this, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's my thing. Even though you have this pitiable moment for him, you realize that it was always his intent to murder Frodo and Sam, or for them to die, so he could have the ring back. And to me, it's classic addict behavior. But it's still, the fact that his intent is for them to die, I think makes him evil. Yeah, he can be pitiable, and you see him, and he's just this shrunken, former existence of a man or of a hobbit. And it's sad to see that this is where his life has gone. But at the same time, he's not who he was. As soon as the ring took him, he completely changed. I mean, if he was willing to murder his friend right away, that's kind of saying something. Was there always something under his personality that allowed him to do that? Because, you have, like Lady Gravemaster was saying, you have Gandalf and Aragorn. They're like, you know what? I don't even want to be tempted. I'm not even touching that thing. No, thanks. I'm good. And then you have Gollum that opens his hand freely, or basically struggles to take it out of his friend's hand. And it's like, yeah, it's mine. I want it. And, it just shows you, like, I don't know if he if it's because maybe he was always semi-evil, or maybe he was just so weak and influential that he couldn't resist the power of the ring. But when you have these stronger willed people, and yeah, Sam's a big inclusion in that can just say, you know what, no, it's not going to take me. Then yes, you do pity him in that moment. It's like, man, what could have been? But at the same time, maybe this is always who he was. I don't know.
Yeah, there's some speculation on some of that with addiction. That is it the alcohol? Is it the drug that's making you mean? Or does it just bring out the worst of what was already there?
Yeah, exactly.
And why successful 12-step programs, or anyone, but especially in the 12-step, it's often about getting honest with yourself.
Yes.
And that through that, that's how you stay sober. Because it's is it the heroin, or is it the heroin within? And that people actually find a way to stay clean by improving themselves and constantly examining themselves and their conscience. And perhaps maybe it's a little too simple to blame it on the drug or blame it on the drink.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, a person has to be responsible. But that's intense. And Jacob had said earlier that without Gollum, though, being Gollum the way he was, it would not have been possible to have completed the mission. And we're going to get into that, obviously, when we're in Return of the King. And Tolkien talks about that because, as we all know, spoiler alert, Frodo was not able to destroy the ring, but because of Gollum doing what he does, that's how the ring was able to be destroyed.
And I think what people kind of overlook is the ring stayed hidden for 500 years. Like yes, it fell into a river and was hidden that way, but like Gollum took it to his cave and it stayed there with him. He kept it away from goblins, from orcs, trolls, urukai, wizards. Like nobody had it, and he kept it. And while it was, not ideal and completely and totally just whittled away at any soul that he had, like, can you imagine if, I don't know, a Rohirrim had found that, or a Gondorian, and like brought it to their king or their steward? Would they have even brought that to their king or their steward, or would they have like tried to overthrow the kingdoms and basically do Sauron's will, but while Sauron was still weak? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I think because Gollum was so addicted to it and he just didn't want anybody else to know that he had it, because he didn't want to share. He didn't want to risk anybody taking it. He didn't want to risk losing it. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
he kept it to himself. He didn't go out seeking like power or to use the ring in any way other than for him to literally just cradle it and keep it with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely, precisely.
Yep.
Derek Jacob Ironside says, I think Tolkien was remembering his time in war, its corruption, and it destroys.
Yep.
Its corruption. Yeah. Absolutely.
It corrupts and it destroys. Yeah. 100%. I think Potato Revan. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with Potato Revan.
Yeah. I think if Gondor, he says if Gondor had the ring, it would have become the next Numenor. Absolutely.
Yep. So it makes you, like, I'm not saying that Smeagol is a hero or like Gollum is a hero, but through his, because everybody points out, as you did, Teresa, like him doing what he did at the end is the reason the ring got destroyed. Well, him doing what he did in the beginning is the reason no one else got the ring. Mm-hmm. So in a very warped, disgusting way, his selfishness and his obsession and his addiction pretty much saved the world of men.
Mm-hmm.
from itself, but still.
Yes, and also the fact that out of darkness can come great light.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that good can always be brought out of bad. And Gadfly Fiction is doing a quote from Robert Caro: Power doesn't corrupt, it reveals. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
There's
Yeah.
I don't know if it's Robert Caro. I'd have to find it, but it's another one. It's in that same similar vein. It says it's something like money doesn't change you. It just enhances, like it has the ability to enhance your virtues or your flaws, essentially. I can't remember the whole quote, but that's basically what it is. Like, you see these people who win the lottery and then 18 months later they're worse off than they were before because they went crazy.
Yeah.
So
Well, and that ultimately the problem is not the money. The problem is what is within. The love of money is the root of all evil. Holy crud. Okay. I love these discussions. These are great. And of course, I'm seeing what y'all are discussing in the chat. And thank you for contributing. You guys are the best chat all around. But I want to get to.
Oh, wait, Teresa, can you highlight Jacob Ironsides right underneath Gadfly Fiction's quote? Can you highlight Jacob Ironsides?
Oh, hello, potato Revan. Mash them, cook them, put them in a stew. Now, wait, potato Revan, are you the Revan? The Revanite? Did you change your name? If you are, let me know. Yeah, because it's a clever change to your name if it is, and if you're new to Miss Smart Muses, well, welcome to Miss Smart Muses. It's always good to see people, and like, share, and subscribe if you have not already. We get to the creepy, though. We're gonna move on after we've had this deep discussion. Obviously, Gollum decides he is going to lead them away. He's going to lead them away, and scarily enough, he abandons Frodo and Sam as their guide, and it's dark and they can't see, and there's all these drop-offs, and they're yelling, Gollum, Gollum, Schmeagol, Schmeagol, where are you? Where are you? And he is completely gone. It is so scary. And Sam goes, quick, quick. There's something worse than Gollum about. I can feel something looking at us. And they had not gone more than a few yards when from behind them came a sound, startling and horrible in the heavy padded silence, a gurgling, bubbling noise, a long, venomous hiss. And then they wheeled about, but nothing could be seen. And then he goes, it's a trap! And then the Star Wars music plays, but no. Yeah, Lady Toriel, we were talking a little bit before you joined us about Sheila, who we're about ready to see. How do you feel about this lovely, lovely lady?
This lovely, lovely lady is a Black Widow in disguise. They did, like Stig was saying, they did an excellent job in the movie of showing just how venomous spiders can be. You know, it's the evil that's there, and Sam's gonna protect Frodo even though he thinks he's dead. He will still protect him. And he will take the ring and become a ring bearer for a small amount of time, but he didn't know that Frodo wasn't dead for a while. But it just goes to show you that the bond between two people and their friendship, that he, like he said, you know, don't go someplace where I can't follow.
Oh, yes, yes. Absolutely. Oh gosh. All right. And she's just so she's just so evil and dark. That's the part that I get, and as you said, it almost brings Sam to a point of despair. Um,
Yes, because he can't follow Frodo in death because now he knows he must pick up the ring and fulfill Frodo's mission.
I mean, he could have
But
followed Frodo in death. I would have. I would have seen that spider and been like, "Yep."
but he wants to also protect Frodo, even though he thinks he's dead.
yes, yes. Oh gosh, I just get chills when I think about that. But there is one chill-like moment before we get to there. Steve, in the chapter, Sam is saying, "I wish old Tom was near us now." He thought. Then he stood, darkness about him and a blackness of despair and anger in his heart. And then it seemed to him that he saw a light in his mind, almost unbearably bright at first, as a sunray to the eyes of one long hidden in a windowless pit. Then the light became color, green, gold, silver, white, and far off, in a little picture drawn by elven fingers, he saw the Lady Galadriel standing on the grass in Lorien, and gifts were in his hands. And you, ring bearer, he heard her say, remote but clear, for you I have prepared this. What do you think of that, Steve?
Oh, you mean the light thing?
Well, yeah, this moment, yeah, where first he's like, I wish Tom were here, Tom Bombadil, the one that we all hate. And then he almost has a vision, a flashback. It's like he sees it before, and in his anger, it turns from anger to the symbols of light, a light in his mind, and colors: green, gold, silver, white. Those are also the colors of Goldenberry and all that.
Well, it kind of lends a little bit of credence to the fact that uh, the theory about who Tom Bombadil really is. He's a representative of
Iluvatar?
Yeah. So a little bit of a divine help, maybe. I'm not sure if I buy into that theory, though. I simply think Tom Bombadil is annoying as shit. But
Okay. Well, Lady Gravemaster.
Still, there is ammo for that theory in the book, and yeah.
Yeah.
And it's kind of almost allegory too, because it's like a light in the darkest places, right? Well, his mind is pretty dark at the time, right?
Yeah.
Everything seems hopeless. He's scared shitless, and then a light. And
yes, and
in the
I
form
was
of
going to
a
say, Lady
memory,
Gravemaster.
kind of.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry, Steve. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just said it was like a light in the form of a memory, in a sense.
Oh, that's interesting that you had that interpretation. I was going to say, Lady Gravemaster, I immediately had something else come to mind, and I think you might be on the same wavelength here. The way the symbolism happened and the colors and all that. Not to put you on the spot. I'm sorry.
No, you're totally fine. Like
Tolkien himself said it, actually, about what Lady Galadriel was, that she was a type of Mother Mary, actually, in these moments.
yes. I like, so when I read this, and I've actually stayed pretty consistent with it, because the first time I read it, like I wish, and I think that the extended version does a pretty good job of it, but I wish that the importance of their conversation with Galadriel wasn't lost on so many people. I don't think they actually realize just how powerful that woman is, and and The Hobbit tried to like show some of that. The Hobbit films, I should say, tried to show some of that, and didn't quite. they sort of missed the mark there. I think that when she and Frodo are talking by the mirror, and you see just like a drop of her power, like when it changes, because she rejects the ring as well and says, "I will remain Galadriel." And then you have this situation where she appears as a vision to like help guide and not necessarily soothe, but it's interesting because whether you're religious or not, I think everybody has kind of heard that you're given all of the tools that you need to live a purposeful or meaningful life. It just depends how you use them, or if you use them at all. Because you can take a horse to water, but you can't make him drink, basically. And so in this situation, because Frodo like hadn't thought of it at all, I wondered, like I said, when I read this, I thought maybe the reason that Frodo couldn't think of it, and it's Sam, is because the star glass, he's carrying the star glass and he's carrying the ring. And so like he's had the ring longer and it's been wearing him down, and they're getting closer to Mordor and further away from pretty much all Elvish, like they're way far away from any kind of Elvish kingdom or land or influence. And Mordor's, because obviously like it's all been corrupted and whatnot. So the way I read that was because Sam was looking for hope and trying to find a tool for them to survive, and Frodo had kind of, honestly, in this scene, Frodo kind of almost surrenders anyway, if that makes sense. Like, because even when he's talking to, he just kind of, at this point, I think he's just
gives up.
He's so tired and he's so drained and he can't see a way forward. He can't. And he has the star glass on him. And so he's just sort of accepted that, well, this is how it ends. This is what it's going to be. I got as close as I possibly could. But then you have Sam over here who is like, if only Tom Bombadil was here. If only there was something we could do. Like, he's actively seeking a way for them to survive this situation with what they have. And then Galadriel appears and he remembers the conversation and he gets the star glass. And so I think it has a lot to do with the fact that Frodo has no more will left to live, really. And Sam does for the both of them.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, that's good. And FYI, where Tolkien actually mentions this in the connection with the Virgin Mary, it's in letter 212 and letter 320. It's pretty fascinating that even though he said it was an allegory, on the other hand, in his letters, he's like, well, yeah, that's where I was inspired to that, because of course it's not light that she herself has, it's light that's reflected. The star glass, the master, the lady's gift, the star glass, a light to you in dark places. She said it was to be the star glass. And Frodo says, why, yes, why had I forgotten it? A light when all other lights go out. And now, indeed, light alone can help us. Light alone can help us. And Tolkien also says in his letters that Galadriel was as old, if not older, than Shelob. Princess Rennie, I was going to say, I thought that all this was one of the most intensely powerful moments. It's almost like they're defeating Shelob before it happens. I didn't know if you wanted to chime in on some of what we've been saying about this and the way that it's written, and that's this moment where Sam realizes.
Yeah, it's almost like an epiphany, isn't it? So, I don't know if so much to stay on point, but don't forget who you are and why you're here. And I think a lot of like parts of the story is, things are so stressful or people become so corrupted by the power of the ring that they forget what they were doing in the first place. Like, even though Boromir came back, for a while there, he was all about, well, I need to take the ring from Frodo. How do I get it? Instead of fulfilling his mission. And I think that Galadriel was was there in spirit just to remind them, guys, you've gotten this far. Keep going. You can do it. You've got this, And I think that was a great scene. And I think it was very inspirational. It reminded them that there is goodness still in the world, even though where they are, it does not feel like it, And I do believe that it's a pretty powerful scene. I think they did what they could with it in the movie, even though it wasn't quite as representative as, it could have been. But I still think they did a pretty decent job with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was a very touching and a really, really good scene to fit into the books in the movie.
Yeah.
I wish, like I said, oh, sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I know that I've harped on this before, but I'm gonna, this is just, I swear, my hill. I'm not sure. I'm not necessarily dying on it either. It's just, the movies, again, are excellent adaptations. But the passage of time is just, the justice is not done to it. I mean, it really feels like all of these events happen within maybe 6 or 7 weeks, maybe 2 months, a little over. But just the fact that you have no idea, because in the movie, okay, so Frodo had just come of age, and he was 30 when the ring passed to him and Bilbo left. And, that's for his people. He had just come of age. He was 50 when he left the Shire.
Yep.
He was in his 50s.
But they didn't tell you that in the movie. You
No.
think, oh, he's a young guy. And then you read the books, you're like, wait, he had it for 20 years before he even left. So
yeah.
It's pretty interesting.
It just sat on the mantle of the fireplace, just chilling there.
But wasn't Bilbo 50 when he left the Shire for his adventure as well? Because I thought that's why they kind of did that whole Frodo's 50 when he leaves thing.
No.
Yes.
Yeah. We have Matt Wilkins in the house. Stieg.
What's up, Matt?
The lone orc among such beautiful elven princesses.
Aww. But what I was going to say was that because you can't really get a sense for how old Galadriel is or Shelob or any of these in the films. In the books, you definitely get that sense.
I was gonna say, I think in the books you can tell, but in the movies not so much.
Yeah, in the movie, see, so in the trilogy, it takes over a year. So it takes over a year, but in the films, it really does feel like you're clocking all of this in under 2 months. And even with the beautiful cinematography, I mean, it did. Even though the cinematography was beautiful, and you do see, Gimli and Aragorn and Legolas chasing down Merry and Pippin after they've been taken by the orcs, and you're recognizing how much terrain is being covered. You're okay, we're in a valley, now we're in a mountain. Even when they go to Moria, I don't think they realize it wasn't oh, we're up here and in 30 minutes we're going to be back down at the base of this mountain and go to the mines of Moria. But because of the way that the films are cut and edited, and again, I'm understanding that movie magic has its limits, but it's hard because you're robbing the audience of truly understanding what Frodo was giving up. Because where Bilbo wanted to leave the Shire, Frodo never really he was yeah, it'd be cool, but he never had any intention of acting on that. He was fine in his little hobbit hole.
Yeah.
And he gave up all of these comforts and all of this, everything he's known, everybody that he's known. And it makes it hard because you're people the Second Age, the Third Age, the Age of Men, the Age of Elves, the Time of the Elves, and you're having these very heavy conversations in the film, but you have no sense of time because everything is clipped. I've said this before on other streams we've had.
Yeah.
It feels like Gandalf was gone for a week. He rode to Gondor, he went to the library, and he came back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like he was out there searching for a decade and some change.
Yeah.
For Gollum with Aragorn. Like,
no, I
think if you guys look at Kelpington's comment, he kind of worked a little bit in show business, I think. Pretty accurate.
Yeah, time
makes a lot
compression
of
is
sense.
a trope used in filmmaking because people will wonder what happened, and the time is not shown. Yeah, and I absolutely agree with that. And
yeah,
you know, they could have done better. But one thing about what happens with Frodo in this, right, and this is almost Frodo's greatest moment, because as he is looking at this, he's holding aloft the phial of Galadriel. For a moment, it glimmered, faint as a rising star, and then it seemed to begin to burn. It kindled a flame, had dazzling light, as though Arendelle had himself come down from the high sunset pass with the last Cimmeral upon his brow. He's like having a spiritual thing going on. The darkness receded from it. This is incredibly powerful, almost a rare moment of divine intervention. Until it seemed to shine in the center of a globe of an airy crystal, and the hand that held it sparkled with white fire. This is Frodo. Frodo gazed in wonder at this marvelous gift that he had so long carried, not guessing its full worth and potency. And then he just like speaks in tongues. He cries out in like Elvish language. And I'm not even going to try to speak it. And he cries, not knowing what he had spoken. For it seemed another voice spoke through his, clear, untroubled by the foul air. And she that walked in the darkness had heard the elves cry that cry far back in the depths of time, and she had not heeded it, and it did not dawn her now. Even as Frodo felt a great malice bent upon him, a deadly regard considered him, not far down the tunnel between the opening where they were. And so, in other words, Shelob, you know, she knows it's kind of like the devil with holy water. And then he actually literally cries out, Galadriel, Galadriel. It's pretty intense. And he stands there, and even Sam goes, stars and glory. But the elves could not make a song like that if ever they heard it. And then, of course, Frodo gets himself stabbed. Lady Toriel, oh my gosh, this is so intense. And then, of course, the scary ass crap that's going to happen here with Shelob. I mean, when you read that, I don't know if you've reread that recently. What did you think when all this crap is going on, and he's getting ready to face it?
Well, I haven't reread it recently because I've been reading something else, and I just finished it. So, but to turn around and face something when you're 3 feet tall is amazing. And they always say, like in the movies, in the books, you know, never underestimate hobbits, because they pull from strength out of nowhere. They're very loyal. They see things through. Even if they're scared to death, they still see things through. And I think people forget about that. That the hobbits, because they've never had to face the things that the other races have had to face until now, because they were always overlooked. But they tend to be one of the more loyal races and fearless when they're faced with obstacles.
Yes. Well said. And the obstacle does come. Shelob comes with her, they say, her big squelching body, her folded limbs out, and she moved with a horrible speed, her creaking legs, and she gets between Sam and his master. And right before Sam is going to try to help out there, Gollum comes, and they start to wrestle. And he's like, got him. At last, my precious, we've got him, the nasty hobbit says. And he spat on Sam's neck. And they actually sit around, and they have a big fight. I don't believe this happened in the movie, and he tries
It happened
to
in the third one.
in the third one. Oh yes, they moved it on to
Yeah,
the next
right.
one.
Yeah, right near
Right
Mount
Mhm.
Doom.
before the I can't even think of what it's called. Mount Doom.
Yeah. So this
Mhm.
is the I
Yeah.
would yes, exactly. And I
Mhm.
would say that at this point that was Frodo's climax, if you will. And then now Sam's kind of taking over, becoming the hero. So he starts off with wrestling the crap out of Gollum. He even takes his sword and chases him down, but by the time he got done with him, Frodo was already long gone, and it was too late. And I thought that was creepy as f. This is really really scary. um and once again, he just keeps calling upon Galadriel and then Albereth, and probably in one of Stieg's favorite moments he decides to say a poem.
At
But
least it's not a song. Hey.
yes, to be fair, it wasn't a song, and it even says, and again, it's one of those speaking in tongues moment, because it says his tongue was loosed and his voice cried in a language he did not know. Albereth, blah 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 blah. So he's now calling upon Albereth, and oh wait, did I miss this? Please say I didn't fuck this up. Was it Sam? Oh, maybe it was Sam that spoke in tongues. Okay, sorry. They're all speaking in tongues at this moment. Yeah, Frodo was already speaking in tongues and handling snakes and rolling and barking like a dog. But no, it was Sam had his speaking in tongues. So both of them had this moment where they suddenly starting to speak in Elvish. And then Sam's like, come on, you filth. You've hurt my master, you brute, and you're gonna pay for it. And then Sam came on. He was reeling like a drunken man, but he came on, and Shelob cowed at last, shrunken into feet, jerked and quivered as she tried to hasten from him. She reached the hole and squeezing down, leaving a trail of green-yellow slime. She slipped in, even as Sam hewed a last stroke at her dragging legs. Then he fell to the ground. Dun, dun, dun. And then, of course, that's when
Yay!
yeah, Samwise the Brave. Oh gosh, I want to just pause before we say this. Matt Wilkins, that spider sounds like Stieg's last date. Was she Swedish? Yes. Wait, we're in the great moment. I don't know, Stieg, if you want to answer this later to yourself.
No, Wilkins's mom told me not to speak of that date.
Oh, well done, well done. But actually, a serious comment from Wilkins to our next comment. Wilkins says, "There's no author like Tolkien. What an incredible talent he had at weaving a story together." Yes. Oh boy. Oh my goodness. Shane Nolan says, "Say what you would like about Tom. His wife was hot." Well, I guess that's kind of true. There you go. There you go. But yeah, wait. I mean, damn. I mean, dang it. I mean, just way to go, Sam. Samwise the Brave. And I just Lady Galadriel. Lady Galadriel. Again,
Where's she at?
Lady Gravemaster. Lady
Hey.
Gravemaster.
I got quite the bump, eh?
Yeah, you got the upgrade. This is where Sam is looking at dead Frodo, or not dead, but he's dead, not asleep, dead. But what can I do? Not leave Mr. Frodo dead, unburied on the top of the mountain. Can I leave him? And he began to weep. If I go on, then I must take your sword by your leave, Mr. Frodo, but I'll put this one to lie by you. And he decides that he's going to go ahead and go forward, because they have to finish their quest. Me go alone to the crack of doom and all, take the ring from him. I would almost consider this title almost like Samwise the Grave. He says, "Then take it, it is." He's went ahead and kissed Frodo on the head, and everyone thought that meant they were gay. And he finally took the ring upon him. So, Lady Gravemaster, I know you have to go in a few minutes. So, I'm going to give you the floor to say
Oh.
what you want to about Sam and what this moment with Sam, and then what we're going to see Sam do. Moments.
Well, I would call him for this. I would say that he would be, obviously he does earn the title ring bearer. It's interesting because when he's recalling, like, if you pay attention, and I don't think that Tolkien did this on accident, as he didn't do anything accidentally with his writing. Because remember, Sam's the one who recalls Lady Galadriel and saying, "For you, ring bearer." Well, technically speaking, like, she was speaking, she was talking to both of them because they were both ring bearers, and it did help Sam. And because she's guiding Sam as well. But in this instance, I would almost call him like Samwise the Reluctant, because everybody else had to talk themselves out of taking the ring from Frodo. Sam is the only one who had to talk himself into taking the ring. He is the only one who had to convince himself that he was worthy. So he would be Samwise the Humble and Samwise the Reluctant, because it's not even that he thinks that he's worthy. It's that he knows the mission must finish with or without Frodo. And so even though Sam doesn't think that he should hold the ring or take the ring, and he's literally talking himself into taking the ring to complete the mission. And he is the only one in the books and in the entire story where, like, from any of Tolkien's writings, letters, stories, all of it, Sam is the only one that has to convince himself to take it from Frodo. He has to talk himself into taking it. And so it's incredible when you sit here and realize that he thinks he's just lost the person who means the most to him, someone that he is deeply loyal to, someone he truly does love as a brother. And he's sitting there, and even though he has all this grief washing over him and all of this pain, and he's literally he's not pretending to go through the motions of loss. He does not realize that Frodo is not dead. He is going through these stages of grief, of mourning, of loss, of despair. And yet the world is depending on him to not let it be the world is depending on him to not stay there and not mourn. It's depending on him to pick that ring up and go to the crack of doom. Like,
yeah. Well, cool. And then just when we think things can't get any cooler with Sam, of course, he takes his heroism to the next level. I really like what you said about Samwise the Reluctant. And I think there's some discussion in the chat about, well, wasn't Frodo a little bit reluctant? I think that he was, but not at this level, not at this point in the story. He didn't quite understand. I think that Sam is in completely full knowledge of exactly what he is facing. Yeah.
Well, because Frodo never thought that. So here's the thing. And again, the books obviously do this much better than the films. But so Gandalf said, keep it secret, keep it safe. Okay, well, it sat in an envelope on it, like, on his shelf for 20 years. And it didn't move. It was slowly obvious. Like, I mean, he was in vicinity of the ring, so obviously it was kind of starting to already influence him at the because he was just in the vicinity of it, and that's what it does. It has its own will. But, and then it was, okay, I'll hold on to this for you, Gandalf, because, like, it was Bilbo's ring. Like, he was calling it Bilbo's ring for the longest time. In fact, when Gandalf shows back up, he's like, I still have Bilbo's ring. Like, he never really took ownership of it because he thought he was just holding on to it because it was something that Bilbo always had on him. And Gandalf told him to keep it and keep it hidden and keep it safe. So Frodo did. Wasn't too much of an inconvenience for him. And then it was, okay, meet me at the Inn of the Prancing Pony. And then it was, okay, now we have to go to Rivendell. And now it's, well, we're at Rivendell. Council is being formed. It will be carried on from here. The burden is off of you. So at each point in this journey, until Frodo steps up and is like, I'll take the ring to Mordor, because everybody else is arguing about how they're going to use the ring except to take it to Mordor to be destroyed. And Frodo's like, yes, I'll take it to Mordor, because again, he's got an end point. Like, each time in this journey, he thought he was done with it, essentially. Like, he got to Rivendell, he's like, it's with the elves, it'll be safe. Only to find out that it wouldn't. Like, he's gotten all of these, like, false endings throughout the whole thing. And so I think that's also probably part of the reason he was so tired, because he was expecting to be done with this thing long ago.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like I said, where Samwise is reluctant to take the ring because it was not given to him. The council didn't choose him to be the ring bearer, and such like that. He reluctantly takes it from Frodo. He didn't want to do this. He never wanted to take the ring from Frodo. He never wanted to be a ring bearer. He never wanted to do anything except support and serve his master, his best friend. And now he is completely like change. Like, this is a huge character growth moment for him, because he has got to step out of who he actually is as a person, or as a hobbit rather, and do something that he would never do except in an extreme situation like this, where he believes he's the last of the company. He even says that, like, they gave him companions in case he fell, and now I'm the last one, and I wish Gandalf was here. So Frodo wasn't necessarily reluctant. Sam was very much reluctant. But on that note, I do have to bounce. I am so sorry.
Oh yeah, no worries. I'm glad you were able to make it and share your insights. My mod, Keck44, I'm putting this up again. This is where you can follow Lady Gravemaster. I believe you're having a show with Stieg on Monday, right?
Yes. Yep, we're talking 2 80s films, and we've got some 80s trivia and all kinds of fun stuff. That'll be Monday, and then Tuesday. Don't you, me, and Stieg have something?
Yes, we are going to debut our new show, The Fantasy Tavern, where we're going to talk everything fantasy. And our first show will be on Narnia, the Chronicles of Narnia. So please go to Lady Gravemaster and set your reminder or subscribe so you can see the 80s show and her other great content. And please also hit your reminders for the Fantasy Tavern. I think we're going to have a great time.
Yes, it'll be a blast. Thank you guys, everybody, Rennie, Stieg, Lady Tyrell, y'all are amazing. Much love. Miss Martin, as always, it is a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on here. And whenever you guys are done with the stream, I did just drop a video late last night, early this morning, about Tolkien Society and their response to a fan celebrating Tolkien's birthday. So you can watch that after this stream, of course, to get more Lord of the Rings love. So I appreciate you all.
Okay, thank you, Lady Gravemaster.
Mwah.
Thanks for being here.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Yeah, well, Steve, this is Sam's moment, I really think. The fight was intense, but also just everything that's going on with that. And I know Lady Gravemaster said a lot. I didn't know if there was anything you wanted to add to that from your perspective.
No, it's basically Sam having his moment in the story. You know, he steps up big time. And like she said, you know, he becomes a ring bearer as well. Other than that, it's just a very it's probably one of the darker chapters in the book. All in all. But yeah,
Yeah, I agree with that. Princess Rennie, I know that this is your favorite book. This
Yeah.
climax to it all. How do you feel about this? I mean, I'm reeling right now.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's part of the reason why I love this book out of all the three is, yeah, they all have their ups and downs, right? But this is kind of, like I said, was like the Empire Strikes Back of like, the Lord of the Rings, so to speak, So, how is everything going to go? Well, tune in next time because, they leave a lot of things kind of like, well, is everything going to be okay? I mean, how are they going to come out of this? Aragorn, Gimli, and Legolas's part of this book is done. So, we know where they're heading, but we don't know how it's going to go because yes, they won Helm's Deep, so to speak, but how's it going to go? We don't know at
Mhm.
this point. And same thing with Frodo, Sam, and Gollum. At this point, Sam thinks that Frodo's dead, and we're kind of led to believe that if he's not, then he's highly incapacitated, maybe a vegetable. We don't know.
Mhm.
But that's kind of part of the exciting about it or the exciting thing, and that's why you want to keep reading because you want to know what happens next. And even though it's really dark, there's some good points about it. You get to see Sam step it up, and you realize that if you don't realize it by the end of the story, you do realize here that Sam is actually a hero, and Sam is pure of heart. Frodo did not want the ring at first, but I don't think it's because he knew about it. He just didn't want to have to deal with the situation. It's like, I don't want to have to mess with that. Give it to somebody else. You do it, Gandalf. I don't want to do it.
Mhm.
But Sam's more like, well, I don't want to touch this thing. It's evil as hell. you know?
Yeah.
So it really shows his heart and his integrity and who he is. And you start to see a little bit of that in this book. And I think it's really awesome to have a little bit of that spotlight on Sam because a lot of people do focus on Frodo and you forget that Sam is actually probably like the kindest character and one of the bravest characters in the book, even though he's this just 3 foot tall little fat hobbit.
Yeah. Well, and Tolkien himself in his letters confirms that he is the true, ultimately the big hero the of the story. Lady Toriel, I look at these chapters and I can't help but completely agree with Tolkien about Sam really stepping in at this moment and becoming the MVP.
Well, yes, because uh, you have to think he thinks he's all alone. From what you've read so far, now he's left to his wiles and being all alone in surrounded by orcs, surrounded, you know, in the depths, not being able to mourn, having to pick up and not he knows he's going to Mount New, but he doesn't know how he's going to get there. And yet he's brave enough to pick up the ring and take it on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And being all by himself. I mean, think about that. You're 3 foot tall in a land you have no idea of, with everyone trying to find you. But yet he has enough courage to know that he has to finish this.
Yeah. Or die trying.
Yeah, because it's the
Yes.
right thing to do. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
And he very well could have died. I mean, that's another thing. Holy crud. I mean, it's a miracle he didn't die, to be honest. Actually, neither of them did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um uh someone know Kelvington. He's husky, not fat.
Husky hobbit.
Yeah, and well, he's a bit of a hero in another way. Biggles mentioned. By the way, Biggles, great to see you. Sam also makes lots of baby hobbits.
Oh
Yes,
my
he
gosh,
does.
yes he does. He has what, like 13 kids? I mean,
Yeah, poor Rosie. Yeah, actually, Rosie, might be the hero in that one. Holy crud! Yeah, Jacob Iron says Sam is a badass. When Frodo can't walk, he picks him up and carries him. Yes, and we haven't even gotten to that part. That's the part that just oh my gosh. And Shane Nolan talks about this. What could be the Empire Strikes Back analogy? Princess Rennie, and the Battle of Helm's Deep is over. Now the battle for Middle Earth is about to begin. Dun,
Yeah.
dun, dun.
Such a good line, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And they're talking about Song of Ice and Fire. Yeah. Unlike other authors, Tolkien knows how to finish
his books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, we know he knew how to finish. He was a good Catholic man. He made a lot of babies himself. Oh, boy. I was about to say it's terrible to speak ill of the dead, but no, I'm actually complimenting him. But okay, so this cliffhanger, Steeg, when you read these for the first time, did this cliffhanger get you?
No, because I was just plowing through the whole damn thing.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, I just turned the page, and then Return of the King.
Okay, maybe I was incorrect. So did you had either all three of them at the same time, or did you have one where it was all together?
I had 2 and 3. I had it actually took me a while because I borrowed the books at the school library, but 2 and 3 were always, so some other bastard had them. So I had to wait a bit for 2 and 3, and when I suddenly found them, and they were free, I just grabbed both of them and read.
Yeah, no, it was a good cliffhanger because not only did we think Frodo was dead, he got kidnapped by the friggin' orcs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, oh crap. Is he gonna make it out of this situation? I mean, if you didn't see the movies or anything like that, and you've never read the books before, yeah, that's really scary.
Yeah, it would have kept you turning the page. Okay, well,
imagine the shock though if you read it today and have been told that orcs are nice people, otherwise it's racist, and then you read Lord of the Rings for the first time and go, "Hey, these aren't nice."
Yeah, these guys don't seem very nice to me. Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's like food on the table. Hey guys, yeah.
Oh yeah, no, you're exactly right. But I gotta give Kit credit here. Wait, George R. Martin isn't finished. Don't expect him to be something he's not, because they're giving some shade to George R. Martin. And Sort of Poopus does point out Tolkien 4 children, Samwise 13, Samwise for the win. That's true. Well.
How long did it take Tolkien to write the Lord of the Rings?
Was it like years and years, right?
Yeah, at least 30 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it took Tolkien 30 years to write a book, which is shorter than book 5 of George Martin's series.
True.
So Tolkien is actually slower.
Yeah, but I think George R. Martin painted himself in a corner, and I think that's really what his holdup is.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think he knows how to get out of it.
Technically, he's still behind Tolkien, though.
Yeah, but I will say this, Steeg. Tolkien didn't start writing The Lord of the Rings in earnest until after the success of The Hobbit. Okay, it was something that he'd been writing. He had notes. He had all the background stuff. And then when The Hobbit came out and it was so successful, his publishers were like, let's do a sequel. And it was early 40s, I believe. I did a video on The Letter about this when he decides to go ahead and get going on it. He said, okay, I think I'm going to go ahead and do a sequel. And it'll probably be with the Necromancer. So he was only writing it in earnest for about 14 years, and in the midst of all that, he had World War friggin' II, and he had a full-time job as a professor.
Well, he started writing the Silmarillion in the trenches of World War I, and he didn't finish the Silmarillion because his son did.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, but
that's
the
right.
Silmarillion, he wasn't even sure that was to be published. I mean,
Still, you know,
okay, fine, fine. But as I'm saying, George R. R. Martin does not have 4 children. George R. R. Martin has a full-time job and of writing, not all that stuff. George R. R. Martin's not having World War friggin' two. Actually, he was handed on a platter, a time where he could do nothing but sit around and write.
Yes, but
yeah.
instead he spent it like publishing shows and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah, and
Which
jumping
he
around
said
on
he
trampolines.
which he
Yeah.
said he would not do. He
Yeah.
specifically
Mhm.
said he would not write any more plays or anything until book 6 was finished and released. And then, like
Precisely.
a year later, hey, I've written this play.
And you're like, wait, what the hell?
Yeah, and he's driving around in his tutu train. Yeah,
Yeah,
Mhm.
big red
exactly.
train.
Yeah, and as Shane says, George R. R. Martin has no day job or children. Snortopupus. Tolkien was constantly rewriting Lord of the Rings for years as the tale grew. Yes, it did, and he revised it several times because he also had different visions of what he wanted to be. Yes, his nose is growing. Okay, before we wrap this up, I am going to circle back in the best kind of a way because I felt like it wasn't going to work with the flow of what we wanted to discuss, which was a brief discussion between Sam and Frodo in the Stairs of Cirith Ungol, where they talk about stories and the heroes of stories. And he said, we shouldn't, Sam says to Frodo, we should not be here at all if we'd known more about it before we started. But I suppose it's often that way. The brave things in the old tales and songs. Mr. Frodo, adventures, as I used to call it. I used to think that there were things the wonderful folks of the stories went out and looked for because they wanted them, because they were exciting and life was a bit dull, a kind of a sport, you might say. But that's not the way of it with the tales that really mattered, or the ones that stay in the mind. Folks seem to have just been landed at them usually. Their paths were laid out. But I expect they had lots of chances, like us, of turning back, only they didn't. We hear about those as just went on, and not all to a good end, at least not what folk inside a story and not outside would call a good end. You know, coming home and finding things all right, though not quite the same. But those aren't always the best tales to hear, though they may be the best tales to get landed in. I wonder what sort of a story we have landed in. And he said, Frodo said, I do not know. And that's the way of a real tale. Take any one that you're fond of. You may know or guess what kind of a tale it is. Happy ending or sad ending, but the people in it don't know. And you don't want them to. And then they go on and on and on. And then I just get really moved about what he says, Sam, when he says the tales that really mattered. And then Sam continues, I'm and then I want us to have some rest and some sleep when our part is done. And I mean just that. I mean plain ordinary rest, waking up to a morning's work in the garden. I'm afraid that that's all I'm hoping for all the time. All the big important plans are not for my sort. We're in a story, of course, but I mean to put into words, told by the fireside, and people will say, let us hear Frodo and the Ring. And they'll say, yes, that is one of my favorite stories. The most famous is of hobbits. And then Frodo says, that's saying too much. And Frodo actually starts to laugh. And then he says, but I want to hear more about Sam, Dad. Why didn't they put in more of his talk, Dad? That's what I like. It would make me laugh. And Frodo wouldn't have got far without Sam, would he, Dad? And and then he says, we're stuck in the middle of the story. Shut the book now, Dad. We don't want to read anymore. And that's how it ends. That is so rich about, from what my point of view, is what Tolkien is saying about stories, what's a story that really matters, where they are, and how maybe people can see the heroes differently. Lady Toriel, they did a good job of showing this in the movie with Sam, when he's talking about it, but they did it in a bit of a different context. But reading this in the book, what is this? What do you think Tolkien's saying about a story that really matters?
Well, you feel for the characters and you really don't want to know how the story ends yet. You see these people thrown in to situations that they have no idea about, and you see how the character develops, and you see how it affects each one of them, considering where they come from and what they're facing in their lives. And to each one, there's a different meaning to the journey they're on.
Yes. Yes. No, Princess Rennie, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I want to say in the movie this happened in Athelion or Skiliath, I can't remember.
Yes.
But yeah,
Mhm.
it's always a touching point because, Sam makes it like kind of sound like, why is this happening to us? We're just ordinary people,
Mhm.
This typically happens to like, to like people who were born of like some sort of nobility or, something, but we're just a couple of like ordinary guys, and we're a couple of small people, so to speak. So how do these things happen to us, but, at the same time, you know, we can't choose just to fall victim to it. We have to choose to rise above it and fight against it or to do what's right. And, it's a great speech and it just shows Sam's heart. And yeah, I do believe Tolkien, was kind of putting some of his thoughts into that about great storytelling. But I think for me, it's a good discussion from Sam, or it's a good point from Sam about morality. But we know that Sam is someone with a lot of integrity and a lot of care. And, no matter what, he's always going to try to do the right thing. Always. And it speaks to his character so much.
Yeah, good point. That's also when Frodo gives him the title Samwise the Stout-Hearted, which I think they changed in the movie to Samwise the Brave because I don't know if
Yeah.
Stout-Hearted would come across in ours. So for me, I almost feel like Tolkien's breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah, kind of, sort of, yeah.
Almost breaking a rule, telling us how he wants us to think about it. But obviously he left it in because he felt it was important. Whenever something like that happens, it's because it needs to happen. And if you are a good writer like Tolkien, we'll forgive you for doing that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, Stieg, this interlude, I almost see it as an interlude.
Well, it kind of the fact that Sam just wants to go home and rest,
Mhm.
just rest and sleep is probably what a lot of soldiers during World War One felt when they were in the trenches. They just wanted to go home and rest.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, that was almost perhaps even him commenting about something that he experienced, or it could have even been a conversation maybe that they had in the war.
Yeah, probably quite
Mhm.
often.
Mm-hmm. Saying, we don't know if it's going to have a happy ending or not, and they didn't. And World War One was a very odd war because even though it was an Allied victory, it didn't feel like a victory because the manner and the causes for the fighting were so ambiguous and weird. That so many people died just taking a few yards of land, when they were in their stalemate in the trenches. Wow. Well, cool. Yeah. So I just felt like I just had to go back and talk about it. And someone said like Jen Psaki. No, do not call me Jen Psaki. Oh, fuck. Sorry, just knocked over something. Though this time the cup was empty. It wasn't like when I spilled the cream. during that
Oh.
one. Yeah. Yeah, Gadfly Fiction says months and months of constant stress and anxiety, not knowing for what will happen next or when it will happen next, but knowing for certain that what it will be terrible. Oh my gosh, yeah. And Shane Nolan says that Aragon called Sam that. Jacob, Ironside SE World War I is part 1 of 2. Yes, it was, but they didn't know that at the time. Poor guys. But I will grant you that. Yes, absolutely. Well, okay, we're going to wrap this up and give some of our final thoughts. Lady Toriel, the entire book, The Two Towers, please summarize it in 1 sentence or more. No, give me anything you want.
Jeez, Teresa.
Yeah, teacher's going to be a little difficult on you today. No, but anything about Two Towers. We're wrapping up this book. Anything you just want to say about it or what we've learned, what we've read, just go for it.
In one sentence or more, awesome, fantastic, mind blowing.
Okay, I was joking about 1 sentence or more.
Let's see, what else can I say about it? It's very interesting to see the differences that you see Sam and Frodo go through. Mm-hmm. And the mindsets that they each have as they make their way further and further, and the effect that the ring has on Frodo. Mm-hmm. But you also see him almost becoming Gollum. And Sam is noticing that as is going through, and he's trying to take some of the weight off and trying to protect him from the ring as best he can.
Mm-hmm. Oh, interesting. Good point. My gosh. Well, yeah. Well, Biggles, he decided to give his take on 1 sentence or less. People are taking me literally. Helmsdeek is fantastic, and Sam is a badass.
Nice.
Well done, Biggles. Actually, that is a great summary of it. Yeah, well done. Well done. Well, Steve, floor's open. Anything you want to say about The Two Towers?
No, it's a good middle part of a story, you know. Like you said, there's cliffhangers that'll make you want to read the next one. Superb book, 10 out of 10.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it goes without saying.
You know, it's a classic for a reason.
Yes. They didn't just pull it out of their buttocks, did they, Princess Rennie?
No, they did not. I mean, I hope not. Oh my gosh. For me, it just, like I said, it's my favorite, but you know, it's cool because you get introduced to the people of Rohan. Because you don't know much of anything about them except for they're on the way to Isengard and we want to avoid it. That's pretty much kind of what we got in the Fellowship, right? Mm-hmm. And that they're horse lords. And so it's nice to meet them. It was nice to see a little bit of an introduction to other parts of Gondor other than what we saw with Boromir and what we know about Aragorn so far. And I thought that was cool. And then, yeah, Gollum shows that, you know, what his intent was all along. And you know that Sam is pure of heart and he wasn't trying to be mean to Gollum. He was just trying to protect his friends and protect the mission, because he always brings this up. Well, I promised Gandalf. I promised him. Mm-hmm. You know, and he tries to stay as true to his word as he can, and it really speaks volumes to his character. So it's really interesting. And like what Lady Toriel said, you know, you kind of start to see Frodo turning into a different version of Gollum. So that's interesting as well. So all in all, you know, it's great. It's enthralling, and you just keep wanting to read more because you need to know what happens next.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you want to know what happens next. You want to know what's happening with our with our heroes. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned about Prince Rennie about the new character as well, because I was going to bring that up. That we do get to learn about the people of Rohan. We get introduced to Eowyn, though so far we don't get too much detail about her inner thinking. We're going to get more of that in the Return of the King, and how she felt about the situation. We saw Aemir, and of course, the greatest character ever, Faramir. I mean, I love Faramir. It's not just because he's hot. I thought he was hot even before I saw the actor who was going to play him, because he's just such a counterpoint.
He's a valiant man. How can you not think he's hot?
Yeah, well, yeah, but you know what I'm saying. He's a maybe if counterpoint, it sounds like the right word to Boromir, and even to Aragorn as a man. He's a man of Gondor in a way that we don't really see it from the other dudes. He's very unique.
Yeah. Have you ever put together that he is a version of Sam, only in human form instead of hobbit form?
Oh,
that's a good point.
The human Sam, yes. Oh yeah. Shane says Faramir is a captain of quality. Oh yes.
Yes, he is.
He has got a lot of quality.
Oh my goodness. Give Teresa a fan.
Yeah. Well, sort of Poopas Kubur. Everyone's putting in their one sentence here. The rugged beauty of Henethan and the horror of Shelob, the heroism of samurai is not bad. Not bad at all. The doggedness of the three walkers, oh yes, the three walkers, or the three runners rather. Those were great. A great introduction. The valor of the Rohirrim, the downfall of Saruman. Yeah, we got to kick ass against Saruman and put him up in the tower. The eeriness of the dead marshes, the desolation of the Black Gate, the sylvan majesty of Ithilien. Yes. Yeah. And let's see. Jacob says, that's what is great about Lord of the Rings. So many different characters pushed into bravery. Ooh, that is an interesting way of looking at it. A study in how people respond to opportunities of becoming a hero. And Snorter Poop says, sorry, I always get wordy when I'm all misty. Honk. Okay. Okay. Is honk the noise that a polar bear makes? I don't know. I mean, I try not to have any how do I say this? I try not to have any close encounters with real polar bears. Don't take it the wrong way, because I don't want to die, and they are
not worth the risk.
I mean, polar bears are cute from a distance. Oh,
don't
my
go
gosh.
giving one a Coca-Cola just because you've seen the ads, people. Just say
exactly. Well, they're vicious.
Yeah.
Well, most excellent. Well, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up this party. If no one else speak now or forever hold your peace. Going once, going twice. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you for the chat. You all are the best chat ever. I really, really do enjoy all of your conversations that you're having among yourselves and the contributions that you make, and your humor and your knowledge of these great, great books. We're going to go ahead and do a bit of an outro. Lady Toriel, are you going to be around here anywhere?
I've been doing a lot of reading. I've been doing a bookworm thing here lately. I did put out one video, but keep your eye out, and who knows, I may turn up on a chat somewhere. Depending.
Okay.
But that's what I've been doing lately is reading.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with that. I think that I've been doing a lot of that too, and I've been very happy. So please, everyone, go ahead and subscribe to Lady Toriel. Please subscribe to Lady Toriel and follow her on Twitter. Lady, or sorry, rather, Princess Rennie.
Thank you, Teresa, for having me as always. Typically, I am on Mr. Brown Alliance around 4 or 5 p.m. Central every Saturday. This week, I have not had a chance to watch the movie, and I forget what it's called, but it's a John Travolta movie from the 70s today. But I will most likely be watching, but I don't think I'll be on today. And then when Teresa has her Lord of the Rings streams, I am more than happy to be here when she wants me. And it's been a lot of fun, and it's a great time talking to awesome people about stuff that you love,
Mm-hmm.
So just want to say thank you.
Yeah. Okay, everyone, please follow Princess Rennie. I believe you have a YouTube channel, but I'm not sure.
Yeah,
you have
it's
content on
under
there?
it's under Rennie A, but I don't really have anything. I have subscribers. I don't have any content. I use the Princess handle just because that's where a lot of my social media is in case people need to find me, or it's under, or Princess Ren. So it just makes it a lot easier on streams. But yeah, I don't really have any content yet because the only videos I really have are of my cat, and who can stand too much of her sometimes. So
Oh, hey, some of my best performing videos have been just my stupid cat running around and chasing a toy. Yeah. Do not underestimate the kitty cats.
Put
And
the
Steve.
cat in a glass of water and claim it's a Marvel reference.
Oh, jeez. Huh.
That'll
Oh,
get you
boy.
views.
No, probably.
Poor
Oh,
kitty.
I know. I get in trouble. My God.
Just say it's a catfish.
Oh.
Oh,
Well, got catfish.
Well, he hates my cat, so they can't do. Well, at least one of them can't ever do anything right. Except die, I guess. I don't know. So, I just want to quickly say, Shane Nolan is saying that you're talking of Fell Tom 238. I guess that's the
Oh,
movie. Okay.
Taking of Pelham 123 is what it is. It's like it's some 1970s movie with John Travolta. It's supposed to be really good. I just haven't had a chance to watch it this week, so I'm like, you guys, I'm just gonna have to not.
Yeah, no, understood. And Steve Kenobi, Steve, where can we find you?
Well, on your channel on Tuesday, for the Narnia thing, and Morris channel on Wednesday for the Grinch Factor. Grinch
yes.
Factory, sorry. And Monday, Grave Master and I are doing the first of our new monthly thing. So yeah, that's it.
Okay. And you're on a Lawrence for Coffee chat usually.
Oh yeah.
If you're awake.
Every Thursday almost.
Okay. Well, most excellent. And please follow everybody on Twitter and on YouTube. I don't believe I was able to get all the links in the description, but I will be doing that later. So thank you everyone for being here. Uh-oh.
I'm sorry. I was
Dun,
running
dun,
out of.
You are in trouble now.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a chat without coffee, I imagine.
No. Oh no. I shouldn't. I really shouldn't think that's as funny as I thought it was actually. But I remembered. I defended you. I defended you long before. No, Steve, I reminded you, yes. So, and sometimes I'll pop on too, especially depending on everyone's schedule and everyone's time.
Oh yeah,
Can I have Samara's
I
thing
heard
here?
you on this one. I was lurking while I was at work. I didn't really get much in the chat, but I liked what you guys were talking about. It was a Boba Fett comic, I believe. Yeah.
Oh yes, yeah, it was loads of fun. Yes, so and I put Mara's thing in the chat. And OG, please feel free to put your link in there so people can find find that. And I think we had Lady Gravemasters there earlier. So you can watch all these people and support them and support their content. Business is booming at the Cringe Factory. Yes, it is. Snortopupus is waving his paw. LOL. We had a good one. Very fun. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Yeah,
And yay, I finally got some good earbuds that I think I can be on for a change now.
yes. yes. I'm so glad to hear you. It's to hear your voice because it seems like it's been forever because of this stupid issue you have with or you had. I mean, it's not your fault. It's any of the problems. Okay, and I'm putting in Lady Toriel's YouTube. Yay, Lady Toriel.
And
So
thank you, Teresa. I forgot to say that. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it very much.
well, hey, I'm always happy to be here. I'm always happy to be here. And have a great morning. Have a great day. Have a great weekend, everyone. Have a great weekend. And be certain, if you are, hell, I don't know, if you're faced with a big spider, just start speaking in tongues.